Welcome back to another exciting episode of Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. I am your host with the most, Tamara Eldridge, and I am so glad you're here because without you and your stories, there would be no need for this platform, okay? Our podcast was created for you, the moms who have real personal stories that might help some of us parents who have questions in our own parenting journey. That would be me. Thank you so much for your support and all your love on our platform. To support our digital recipe book of parenting tips and tricks with all your dollar bills, y'all, click the description links for Buy Me a Coffee and Buzzsprout. All support given is truly and greatly appreciated. On today's episode, you are in for a very special treat, and I truly mean that with my whole heart. This single mom is on a mission to fight back against the ongoing decline in literacy, especially in communities that need it the most. She is a woman after my own heart, ensuring that babies of color are getting what they need to not just survive, but to thrive in their early years. I'm not going to say too much more because I could go on and on about the work of this cool mom. So please help me welcome certified educator, mom, content creator, and children's book author, best known as the coolest author in town, Charlie Marcol, to Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey.
I am so excited that you are here today just from the little conversation that we had before, girl. I can't wait. I can't wait until we get into it.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us so much. I can't share how elated I was when I got your email stating that you were interested in the podcast because I was literally looking for someone with your specialty. My full time job aligns with your work, and it just was on my heart that we were able to share with parents what it is that they need to know about what our educators are teaching them. So when you reached out to me and you wanted to share about the struggles of literacy that many districts are facing, I was like, absolutely. You can come on and you can help listeners know what they need to look for. So I can't wait until we share. Because of how I feel about your culturally responsive work, we are going to change up our formatting today. So I'm gonna forgo the Tavi Tale segment today. Sorry, listeners. I know you love listening about my baby, but we have a little bit of extra oomph that we need from Charlie today. So we're gonna jump right into your personal parenting journey. I'm just gonna sit back and I'm just gonna listen because I already know that you have a treat to offer the show today. So please share your personal parenting journey with us, Charlie.
Well, hey, everyone. I am Charlie Marcol, the coolest author in town. And I like to say God gave me my child at the most detrimental time of my life. I had my child right after college. And if I was raised by a single mom. So if you know the tales of a single mom when she has a daughter getting ready to go to college, they say go to school, graduate, and what's the last part? Don't have a baby. I did everything my mom said do. And it seemed like I waited to after I graduated from college to get pregnant. At the time where I'm still looking for employment, gainful employment, not like that college type job. But more importantly, my mom was so disappointed when I called home to say, hey, I'm pregnant. Now, I've done everything she said do, but it seemed like, I threw off the whole plan. It depressed me really bad. I thought about honestly aborting my child. I asked 3 people, including the father, for money for an abortion, and everybody told me no. So I'm like, okay, like, well, ain't nobody happy, but well, nobody's trying to help me. I go to church one Sunday and the church I go to, still I go to this day, he actually preaches about the Exodus and how God prepares us for seasons and how it doesn't feel good and how it doesn't look good, but it's a season of moving. And I took that as a sign like, hey, I guess this is part of my exodus of me transitioning from that college student young girl to this young mom. My son and I grew up together. I'm my early 20s with this baby, this beautiful bouncing baby boy. Here's the other caveat. He was supposed to be here. I've never been pregnant again, ever again in my life. And I want you to know I've had a lot of sex. And my son, I've never, ever been pregnant again. So can I even imagine if I would have followed through what I wanted to do because I'm trying to people please, make other people smile. It was one of the most saddest times of my life. The child's father was like, "You're not pregnant," and my mom is so disappointed. And so the countenance that my son sometimes carry, when I look at him, I see myself. I see myself in that season. And everybody's like, "What's wrong with him?" I said, "Listen, I've been that child. It's nothing wrong, but it's like, where can I find joy? Where can I find happiness?" It was one of the most depressive seasons, but I am so glad that I heard the call of my pastor talking about this exodus, this changing of season and getting ready for a new era because I kept my baby. I wanted to break also my family generational curse. My mom was also young when she had me, and looking back and us talking today, she'll share like I wasn't ready to be a mom. So for a short period of time, she kind of let my grandmother raise me. I was raised as if my grandmother was really my mom and my mom was like my older sister. I was determined to break that chain. I know the struggles that I grew up with feeling. I didn't want my kid to feel that way. And I will often say to my kid, "All right, baby, it's me and you against the world. All right, baby, it's me." I didn't care how bad it got, how many jobs I lost, how many turnovers they had, what breakups it was. I wanted my kid to be with me. And he often tells people, me and my mom grew up together. For me, that's a beautiful story because my son got to see his mother never gave up on him. I didn't pass the buck. I didn't let my mama do it, my auntie do it. I wanted to do it. I wanted to break the chain. I wanted to break the generational curse. And that's my ride or die. That's my homeboy right there.
Oh, girl. Thank you so much for sharing that story. It was so beautifully told about just the chains breaking in the season of transitioning from a young girl to a young mom. And let's be honest, that is the story of so many Black women, brown women. That is the
Yes.
story. That is what we knew in um man, it's what we saw around us. And this actually kind of leans in a little bit to the work that you're doing, but we'll hold off on that because you are the author of a book where a Black girl is positively represented. But we'll come back because I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, when you said that the chains are breaking, that was such a powerful spirit that you spoke in, and I really felt that. And I believe that your life now shows that the chains have been broken. And I'm excited for you
Thank
because you were very intentional about how you wanted to raise your son. You were very observant about how you were raised, and you knew what it took, and you did what you had to do to build a better, I don't want to say a better parenting dynamic, I guess, for you and your son. So kudos to you.
My
Kudos to
son
you.
literally saved my life. I tell him that all the time. I'm a fresh college graduate, right? And you're searching for work. Well, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I have to figure out something. So I ended up getting back in grad school and going to grad school. So I started grad school pregnant, and I finished when he was 2 years old. But God gave me him to ground me. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes as because we think, oh, it's easy to get pregnant, right? Like, people, oh, no, it's not. It's probably one of the hardest things for a woman to achieve, right? It's like perfect timing. The egg has to drop, the sperm has to be in the right place. Like, for all of that to conceptualize, but more importantly, carry a child 9 months
Mm-hmm.
healthy, like God chose you.
Yeah.
This is your assignment. Because we know so many
Yeah.
women who can start the journey, but they struggle with finishing the journey. Or if something goes completely awry, or,
Mm-hmm.
preeclampsia, all of the things that a woman can get when a baby's in vitro, and you come and you have this bouncing baby. Like, oh, this is my assignment. And I think
Yeah.
as moms, if we look at it instead of like motherhood, because motherhood can be ghetto, if we look at it as this is my assignment,
Yeah.
God gave me this baby to make my world a better place. It is my job to make a productive citizen. There is some goodness in the world. I can start at my home, right? Because
Yeah.
women change the world. So you have this little girl, this assignment. Well, you're giving her love and peace and tranquility. And she goes to school and she prospers. And everybody's like, oh my God, I love to see her come through the door. That's your assignment.
Yes. You would think that we talked about this before because of just what you spoke. That is my child. That is absolutely my child. People love to see her coming through, and I'm getting emotional. And ooh, hold on, because I'm a thug. So give me a second.
Come on, thug
Ooh,
tears, girl. Come on, thug
I
tears.
know, but I don't do this. I'm the host. I'm the host, Charlie.
That's your.
Okay.
Don't look at it as motherhood. Thank you. That just downloaded from the Holy Spirit from me to you. Don't look at it as like motherhood, because it's ghetto, like
Yeah.
the neighborhood. Look at it as this is my assignment, right? Like, and when we were think about it, like when you were in school, if it's a really important assignment, you take your time with it. You craft it, you
Yeah.
mold it, you revise it, you correct it, you auto correct it. You want to give the best product to your teacher. Same thing with motherhood. You want to give the
That's
best
beautiful.
product to society. It's an assignment.
That is a very transformative way to look at it. And I thank you for that. Yeah. And I just had this conversation with my daughter yesterday because I got a message and it felt very generic. And it was about, children being disrespectful and laughing at their substitute daycare teacher. And I responded and I said, I'm gonna need you to speak my child's name if you're bringing something like this to me. This
Mm-hmm.
message feels very broad, and I need to know what it is that I need to talk to her about. And it was confirmed that it was a general message, but I did talk to my daughter, and I said to her, I don't care what you're carrying. You cannot mistreat people because those are the people that love you the most.
Mm-hmm.
And what my job as your mother is to do is to make sure that you bring all the goodness, all the kindness, and all the love to space so that people know who you are and whose you are.
Yes.
And this is just confirmation that, I'm trying to teach my 5-year-old daughter who is the mayor of wherever she goes that you have power. Your actions have power. And everywhere you go, people will follow you. So if it wasn't you doing the harm, then you walk away from the harm because somebody
Mm-hmm.
else is going to say, hey, that's not right. I'm with her. So it was a tough conversation to have, but I felt like I had to remind her what my assignment is for her
Mm-hmm.
in this world. Okay. You spoke about just seeing yourself in your son, and there was such a sensitive and vulnerable moment that you shared with us, because you weren't happy during your pregnancy, and people can see there's something off, something's not right, and you see that what you carried is thriving in him occasionally, and it's just a powerful piece. What is it that you're doing now to heal that hurt that you felt when you felt disappointment in yourself, and when your parents felt disappointment, and when everybody around you was disappointed but wouldn't let you cut your assignment short?
So one thing that I do is I try to take expectations off of my son.
It's good.
Expectations lead to disappointment.
Hmm.
I think that oftentimes as parents, we want our kids to be better than what we were, but they don't know the why. It's like, especially if you grew up in a Black household, you do as I say and not as I do, or children should be seen and not heard. We stifle them, but we want to let them go and breathe. They never know the why.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I tell my son the why I want you to be better. But ultimately, this is your decision. This is your life. I've lived mine. I know that for my generation, our parents wanted us to be better because they didn't get an opportunity to do, right? So I have had many opportunities. Hello. But what I want you to do is know my why. So you have the example set before you. Like I've set before you life and death. Choose wisely. I know when I didn't
Hmm.
make this great decision, this led to this. Our kids need to know the why.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to communicate with your children. Have
Absolutely.
that dialogue. So that's how I'm healing me. Also, I was raised in the 80s. Some things they would say, um, what happens in this house, stay in this house. So we have years of things that we've compartmentalized, trauma, drama, hurt that we've never healed. Absolutely not. I'm working through that so I don't repeat that with my kid. Because one day
Yes.
my kid is going to be a parent. I want my child to feel like the door is always open. I don't want my child to ever feel like I'm not the one he can come talk to. He's empowered to talk to. He'd rather talk to his mom before he talked to anybody else. It happened today. He's like, Mom, did UH ever up your bill? I was like, no. I say, explain yourself, slow down. But I don't care if it's minute to the grandiose. The door is always open. And that's part of my healing. My mother and I are way better today than we were when I was a teenager and young adult.
Hmm.
But we look at those things and then we change them. And it's because of that journey to healing. Wanted to heal that inner child, that 10-year-old girl, that 11-year-old girl, the 11-year-old girl that was scared to go talk to their mom or felt really cute or, in my case, always put on a pedestal. Oh, girl, the pedestal, the pedestal. The expectation was so high, hence the disappointment. Oh my God, the fall
Hmm.
from grace. Listen, I tell my son, I'd rather you fall and fail because that's where you're going to build your character versus
Yeah.
I don't want you to fall. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Mm-mm.
Wow.
Look at you falling and failing. But that is where you build your success because you know where you went wrong. You know where to change. That autocorrect, self correct shoulder correct, hey, I know what I need to do next time. That's so
I
important.
love that. Yes, absolutely. I love that. Fall and fail. Fall
Look
and
at you
fail.
falling and failing at the same time.
And
It's
getting
okay.
stronger every minute.
Every time. The things that we try to avoid our children from seeing is the same thing that actually built the character of who you are today.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, you talked a little bit about the inner child, the little girl that needed that healing, that needed to fall, that needed to get knocked off the pedestal. And you wrote a book, and you from there have done many things to really promote a culturally responsive community. So I would love for you to share what that is. What is the work that you do around culturally responsive practices and culturally responsive repairing?
This is my first baby. I didn't just wake up and say, I'm going to write books. I was first published in the fourth grade. True story. Back in the 80s, yeah, I was in the fourth grade in the 80s. I had written an essay entitled The Most Influential Woman in My Life. And my
Mm-hmm.
teacher sent it off to this competition. I end up
Wow.
getting a certificate from the governor of Texas at the time, Governor Clements. And that's when I realized I had a voice. But paper and pencil saved my life. I have some childhood trauma as well. So I just didn't start writing books out of the blue. I first started writing young adult books. And then something dawned on me like, hey, you in front of your audience every single day. Like you work with children. So it started in the classroom. And as a classroom teacher of 17 years, I saw firsthand how powerful books can be and how some of my students struggled to connect with the material because they didn't see themselves or
Mm-hmm.
the culture that they represented. We know about the Mayflower. We know about the Pina, Nina, Pina, Santa Maria. I know about all of those things. But when you ask me about my culture, it's like, oh, that happened? Oh,
Right.
we were kings and queens?
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing little rhymes and stories just to get my students engaged. And one day I thought, why not take this further? I had a student in my classroom who came to school with a hoodie on, and they said, take your hoodie off, before you come into the school, right? And she didn't want to come into class, and I saw her hair all over her head. And as
Mm-hmm.
Black women, we know our hair is currency. When my hair is not right and I'm almost 50, like I am texting, can you get me in? Imagine what a 8, 9, 10-year-old girl feels like who can't do anything about her hair. And so the character is actually named after her. And then the illustration is my actual godchild. So I wanted the children to see themselves. And that spark turned into a fire. And now it's turning into more books. Here's Mommy's Cool Sorority. I wrote this when Kamala was running for president because I'm a sorority girl and we were like getting behind her. Like it didn't matter what color, So this one talks about the power of sisterhood. And then Beyonce made me write this one because everybody was like, oh, cowboy, like they are still in our culture. And it's like, no, baby, we are the original cowboy. We are the original country artist. And so our children did not know that. And so I'm writing these stories for both entertaining, but for empowering purposes. That's
Yes.
so important to me. And then I also wrote Crown to Be Cool, which is the answer to this for the boys. So I've covered the gamut here.
I love that. I love that. And I will say, coming out of the Office of Equity at my school district, I will absolutely be adding your books to my resource page, pushing those links, making sure people are buying because this is what is necessary, especially in Black schools. We are tired of the slave story every year. We are so much more. But that is, I'll be on a soapbox, so let me focus. Let me focus.
Okay.
Um, I love that work. I love the work that you're doing, and it excites me. I'm also a writer, so that especially excites me when you can find creative ways to teach the history. And I know when you initially reached out, I had a backlog, so I couldn't get you scheduled right away. And yet, thank God for the backlog. So we weren't able to get you recorded before summer, but now that summer is over, we are able to kind of look back over the summer months and plan for the school year and plan for next summer. So as we're looking back, how can families reflect on what works and what doesn't work as far as literacy when it comes to their kids engaging in reading?
Okay, as a literacy teacher for 17 years, summer is a great time for freedom, but it can also create gaps if we are not intentional. We have to be intentional with our children. For instance, inferencing was always a hard concept for Black and Brown children to comprehend. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we say, "What you trying to say?" Hello, I've said it, right? Like, but if we don't jog our children's memories, if we just give them a book to get in the corner and be quiet, but we don't give them the questions and ask them, like, what is the main character trying to infer? What themes can you read throughout this story? Is there any symbolism? Did you see any metaphors? Who was the main character, right? Because state standardized tests are not asking who is the main character anymore. They're asking
Mm-hmm.
how did that character undergo a change? What
Mm-hmm.
changed from the beginning of the story towards the end of the story? So families can reflect by asking questions. What actually kept my child attention this summer? What kind of
Yeah.
books did they like? Did they enjoy books tied to their interest? Another thing that like gets me as a reading teacher is when kids say, "I hate reading." No, ma'am. Parents, ask your kid, what is their interest? What do they like? Do they like superheroes, sports, adventure? Were there more audio stories this year? Like I have the summer camp at the library and you can check out audio books from your library now. Or did they even like
Yeah.
the read alouds at the library? All of these things are free. And if something didn't work, don't feel bad. Throw it out. Just pivot. The power of pivoting as a parent. Sometimes we keep want to stay on the straight and narrow. I want them to like football. I was a football player. I was a cheerleader. I want them to like that. Hey, your kid doesn't like that. They like IT. They like robotics. They like find what they like and make reading
Right.
fun again, not just a chore, not just the 20 minutes because the teacher say he has to read 20 minutes. Make it a game in the car. Ask those questions. I was looking at a mom in the grocery store. Her baby pointed to an eggplant. And I laughed because I can think about the Black mama. We're like, put that down. Get over here now. The white mom says, what do you think it is? What color is it? Is it
Yeah.
bumpy? Is it smooth? Those kind of things build those tools of confidence, imagination. What does it look like? Make those real world connections. When those students make real world connections, that's how they are able to retain the information that
Right.
they need in order to pass those state standardized tests. It's not just another homework assignment. You read the book with your kid too, so you can actually ask honest questions.
Mm-hmm. So I had questions, but you answered all of them, every last one of them. So I don't have any more questions, but I will ask one more question, just like with a simplified answer, and then we're moving on to tea time.
Okay.
Where can parents start? You just answered it, but I just want a refresher. Where can parents start to get their kids interested in literacy so that they can be on that same playing field with their counterparts?
So my biggest advice is don't wait to be represented. Be the representation. If you walk in your school, library, your neighborhood library, and don't see the books that reflect you, your culture, values, lived experiences, use that as a call to action, not a setback. Oftentimes we give up. That's the call of action. That's where your work begins as a parent. You are your child's
Absolutely.
biggest advocate. Advocate for your child because you want them to have a quality education. Public education right now is under attack throughout the 50 states, right?
Absolutely.
And it's under attack because we're like, oh, okay. We pay for it with our tax dollars. Your library is off your taxes. Say something.
Yes. This is a right, y'all.
This is a right. And then you start by looking into diverse, independent authors, such as yourself, such as myself. We're out here writing powerful, authentic stories that uplift every shade of melanated child so they can find their voice.
Yes. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your personal journey, which was super powerful. And I'm almost positive it has fueled your passion. Thank you for sharing your passion and just giving some of our parents a little bit more of a leg up so that they can prepare their early readers, so that they can check and make sure and advocate for their students that are already past second, third grade, but can still get to that level where they need to be to succeed. I appreciate your time. We are going to play a quick game and then I'm going to let you go because I know you got things to do today, boo. So it is tea time.
Oh, girl,
Tea
let's
time
talk
is a
this
game.
way.
I
Girl.
know. It is a game of rapid fire, and I have a bucket full of questions. Some of them are deep, some of them are just for fun. I will tell listeners that Charlie has no idea what questions are in this bucket, so she will be just as surprised as you are, and she'll give us a little bit more insight into who she is. So, Charlie, tell me, love, are you ready to play the game?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm going to share with you the clock so that you can see I am not lying about the time. And we're going to go ahead and get started. You
Okay,
ready?
let's do this.
First question. What's the best gift you ever received?
The best gift I've ever received was honestly my son. It
Beautiful.
saved, I told you, it
And a
saved
necessary
life.
gift.
It was necessary.
I
He
love
was
that.
necessary.
I love that. If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
Girl, social media. I cannot. That algorithm, it makes me so damn mad, girl. That algorithm. It's like, I think I got to figure it out. It's like, no. 3
It
likes. Why
swaps
you
out on
3?
you. What is your hidden talent?
I am very crafty, believe it or not. You talked about this blue wall. I painted that wall. I love to decorate. That is like my hidden. I love it. Like, and it's so cathartic. Like decorating and
Yes.
painting and putting it together. So people have come into my house and said, "This looks like the model home." So that is my hidden talent. My
I
last year
love it.
teaching, I won a $10,000 Teacher of the Year, Ashley Furniture, and I got all new furniture. Yes. So that
Okay.
gave me like I went to town.
That's what's up. We'll talk later. What is your guilty pleasure?
Mexican food.
Sorry, I just heard music. Dun, 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 dun. I love me some Mexican. Okay, well, this is probably your answer. What's your go-to comfort food?
Mexican food.
Yes. Name the most spontaneous thing that you've ever done.
I booked a trip to Africa,
Woo! I like
and I
that.
didn't wait on and it turned out to be one of the best experiences, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Everybody was like, "What you gonna do for your birthday?" And I literally been talking about it, and I booked a trip to Africa and started the
That's what's
plans.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I like that. Which emoji do you use the most? Mind blown, y'all. Mind blown. What's your dream vacation spot?
Ghana. If I could go back there, Ghana. Changed my life.
I love that. Name one book, podcast, or resource that's changed your perspective.
Is that time or the book?
That is time, but I didn't hear your answer if you said anything. So I would still
I
love
said,
to hear
oh,
one book, podcast, or resource that's changed your perspective.
that's a good one. Destiny by uh, he's in trouble, but TD Jakes. Destiny by TD Jakes. Yeah.
I have not read that, to be honest with you,
Yeah,
but
Destiny
with
by
a lot of
TD.
people
It's
in
it's a
trouble.
it's a lot, but um and Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. We
Hmm.
started I started that as a must do for church, right? Because our church was doing the study. But
Hmm.
that's when I learned that my life has a purpose. I did not know that. And it took me this year to realize I want even my career to be closely aligned to my purpose because purpose leads to your passion. And when you align all of that, the paycheck comes, the money comes. Oftentimes we chase the paycheck and it's not
Yeah.
aligned to our purpose or our passion. So we are pissed off all the time. And I want it to be aligned to my purpose. So it doesn't even feel like work.
Yes.
I enjoy
I
going.
mean,
I don't have to worry about
that was such
retirement
a
because I like,
word.
yeah. And that
Yeah.
changed my life. Seriously. Yeah, if when I was married, I have other ones, single, I got other ones, but The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren helped me realize like I am here for a purpose. Oftentimes growing up as a little girl, I didn't feel like I was loved. I told you the story at the beginning. And so I
Mhm.
struggled because my mom was a single mom and my dad was on drugs. And so I didn't understand if you love me, why you just couldn't get it together. Like I just didn't understand. And so I had so many voids growing up as a child. Like I did. And that's where that even that people pleasing that we try to we find ourselves doing, that comes from that little red wagon that we're pulling. And so I searched for purpose my whole life until I read that book when I was pregnant. And I'd never have forgotten it. And I was like, I was here. I'm here by design. Like it just wasn't
Yeah.
happenstance that, uh-oh, no. Our parents could say, I was just kicking it one night, or no, you was kicking it one night, but God said something else. The purpose. You're here for a reason.
Yes. I love it. Um, man. So, nope. I just want to know where we can send your offering to. Now, I've asked that before. There's only a couple people I've asked this to because right now I feel like this conversation has been aligned with my life. So,
Really?
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah. we'll talk about that later.
Okay,
I
girl.
do. Again, I want to thank you. I just want to thank you for just showing up. Um, for being who you are, because you are an amazing person, and I thank God that he put purpose in you that you have followed through with, um because without that there might not be this conversation today. So I appreciate that, and I want to open up the floor. If you want to share any words of wisdom or any inspiration to our listeners, outside of what you've already shared today, because you've shared many gems. But if you want to have any lasting encouraging words for some of our listeners, please take this opportunity to say, this is what I want to leave you with, because I want to hear what you have to say.
I want every parent, every mom that's listening to know that this is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Oftentimes we look at other people, our friend and what their kids are doing. You know, I tried to put my son in football and soccer, and that just wasn't his thing. That just was not his thing. And we feel bad because we done everything right. We read every book. I
Mhm.
took all my vitamins. I made every natal appointment. Just like you have your own thoughts and opinion, that human being that you gave birth to, they have that same thing. And you have to run this race together. This is for the
Absolutely.
long distance. This is not the relay race and you hand it up. No, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. Run your race with patience. Keep your
Mm.
blinders on. Stay in your lane. Look what's ahead, not what's behind you. Press towards the mark. When you get to the finish line, that senior year, and you say, we did it. I told people, we are graduating. Now you're moving from parenting to helping an adult. But all of those lessons and those gems that you've been dropping as you're running that race together, they remember it. Remember your
Mm.
why and tell them the why, and they would never forget it.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I know people want to connect with you, so can you please let our listeners know what it is that they need to do to connect with you and what's coming up next for you?
So, what's coming up next? I have just launched the Cool Impact Leadership and Literacy Camp. Put
Hey.
both of them together, right? So our last day is August the 4th, but girls are learning things such as leaders give back. And it's cool to be mindful. And then we have a yoga session at the end of the day because I'm teaching little girls this now so they don't have to learn to be mindful at 35 and crash
Yeah.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have had beauty queens come in teaching them how to own their crown and how to rock it, your natural crown and that invisible crown that we must wear. We don't stoop down. We don't stoop down to their level. We make them rise up, right? They're subjects. You are royalty. So that is exciting. I'm going to launch a creative writing campaign for those kids as well and open
Yes.
it back up because the camp has been closed. So it's, to certain girls with the creative writing campaign, letting them understand how to write a story and what that looks like. And if they want to become authors, I'm going to set them up for success on how to do that. And then to find me, I am on all social media platforms as Charlie Marcol. CharlieMarcol. And if you want to follow the Cool Impact and all the cool books, it's at the coolest books ever.
Awesome. So, thank you for sharing all of that. I will make sure that all of that information is included in the description so that all of our listeners can find you at their leisure. I have three more questions that I always ask all parents, and I really just like to compare the responses and see if we all are kind of in the same ballpark. So,
Okay.
my first question is parenting hard?
No, it's
I
challenging
like that. There you go.
because
That was different.
mindset is everything. If you say it's hard, guess what it's gonna be? Hard. It's challenging. It comes with its challenges.
Okay, CRP leadership. Uh, but is he still standing?
Um, my son,
Yes.
absolutely, and he's thriving, and he's about to be a junior in college.
Whoop. Get it? Hey. What do you want to proudly tell our guests today?
This mama, this one right here, is nailing it. Boom.
Nailing, she said that with authority, y'all. Authority. I love it. If you like this episode and you want to hear more personal parenting journeys like Charlie Marcol, subscribe to my social media, Nailed It Motherhood Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Also, remember you can be a guest as well on the podcast by simply completing a guest application. The link is below. We welcome all of your questions, your comments, and your ideas, and we certainly hope to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep on doing what it is you do. Smooches.